Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Riv Readers podcast, hosted by Regina Library at Riviera University. I'm Katie McFarlane, your research and instruction librarian. For today's podcast, our last of the semester, we are interviewing Sophia Lakin. Sophia, thank you so much for joining us. So excited to talk to you today. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your studies at Riv?
Sure. So my name is Sophia Lakin. I'm a senior this year, so I graduate in May. Yay, I know, I'm so excited. So I have been at Riv since the spring of my freshman year. I transferred to Riv.
Okay,
I live local, so it actually ended up working out better. I just wanted to be closer to home. But
nice.
I'm in nursing, so I've been doing that and working a ton, but I genuinely have really loved my experience at Riv. I love meeting new people, and I run SNA this year, so it's just been,
Oh, awesome.
it's been such a fun way to get to know everyone. But yeah, excited to take the next step in my, journey.
Is it like exciting, but also a little nerve-wracking or?
It sure is. It's so familiar with what you're doing, and then it's like, okay, you're going to stop school, get a job, and
Whole
life.
new world.
Yeah.
Do you have like a specialty that you are focused on within nursing?
I do. So I'm going to be working in a pediatric ICU
Oh,
after graduate.
wow. That's
Yeah.
great.
A lot of emotions, but it's a very rewarding career once you get into it.
Oh,
So
I'm sure. Yeah. Well, getting into books and reading, I have a question. Which book or books influenced you most as a child?
I had to think about this because, like, how far do I go back? But the one the one series that I remember the most was the Junie B. Jones series.
Oh,
And
yes.
I don't know. I was like, why did that stick with me? And she was just this character. And I mean, she advocated for herself. She was confident. She was fun. And it
Mm,
really, I guess, taught me how to navigate friendship. And
mhm.
I felt more empowered to use my voice. Like, oh, if Junie B. Jones can, I can.
Oh, that's
You know? It
awesome.
was, I don't, It really stuck with me. And when I think about my childhood, I remember going to the library. What book did I not read? And then, reading them over again. And yeah, it was
Because
fun.
that's a whole series, like there's a lot of them, right?
Yeah, yeah. She
Junie.
like takes charge of her own story, and she teaches you that it's okay to take up space in the world, and like you are here and everyone can know you're in a room. And it was just so fun. You
Awesome.
can laugh, and it's relatable stories because they used a young girl as the main character. So it was
Yeah,
fun.
she's like school age, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I've been looking into like longer kind of like almost chapter books to read with my daughter. She's 4.5, and that was one that I know popped up, and I was like, huh, maybe I should explore this a little bit. I can't remember if I ever read those ones.
They're cute. They're different, different scenarios that you would encounter in school. And they go through like bullying and things like that
Hmm.
that are important topics for young girls to feel like, or anyone to read, honestly.
Yeah.
Just you're
Yeah.
going through life and that might happen, and it's okay.
Hmm.
You move on, life goes on.
Yep, and maybe give you some tips for like coping with it and
Exactly. Yeah.
strategies. Jumping ahead to
Yeah.
the present, do you have any recent favorite reads?
So like I was saying, I'm in nursing school, so I
Uh-huh.
have the chance to read too much. But I think when I need like a good reset, I always like start with a new book. So I recently read Nightingale by Kristin Hannah.
Oh, I've heard
Um,
a lot about that.
yeah, it was really good. I've never read a historical fiction before, so this is
Okay.
something new for me. And it was very cool. It was about like two sisters that are struggling to survive as Germany takes over France during World War II.
And it
Um,
has like both of their perspectives and points of
yeah,
view.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it jumps around a little bit, and you have to pay attention to keep up. But one
Oh.
sister's, living life at home versus one takes a different approach to the war. And
Hmm.
in that time, women in the war. So I never really dove into World War II like that. So I feel like it was a whole other history lesson, but in a fun way. So that was
That's
really,
awesome.
really cool to read.
I think our last podcast guest is a big Kristin Hannah fan. She's popular and
Yeah.
she writes about all different kinds of historical eras too. So I feel like she has a good variety. It's not just all World War II kind of setting.
And she like does research too. There's places that are
Hmm.
specific in locations and stores. And like you can tell she puts a lot of work into them and details that I feel like I was there on. And it takes a lot to put yourself into a historical
Hmm.
era, I guess you could say, but it's very fascinating. for
That's
sure.
amazing because I feel like, yeah, that would be so much work as a writer to like not only come up with the story and the narrative, but also to do all that research. I wonder if she has like research assistants or, editors or fact checkers who
Yeah.
like go through and check that.
Yeah.
I feel like you would have to.
You'd have to. You don't have enough time
Yeah.
to do all that and
Yeah,
write.
you're like, I can come up with the story and then take it from
Exactly.
there.
You do that. I'll do me.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this question, if you were to walk into a library or bookstore, which section would you head to first?
Always fantasy. I mean, I feel like that's just,
Yay!
we always venture into that just because
That's my fave.
you're just going through the days and it's a good way to break the norm. I
Mhm.
would have never gone into a historical fiction section
Mhm.
prior to reading Nightingale, but maybe I would.
Mhm.
Now just it gave me the confidence that it's okay to venture out, and even if you don't love a book, it's okay to not finish it. There's been so many times
Mhm.
where I'm like, I need to finish this book. It's the worst book, but I have to. But
Yeah.
it's okay to not, and I feel like that's something that it's hard, especially for me. I'm like, I put 70 pages into it. I need to do the rest of the
Right.
200, but it's like it's okay if you don't love
Yeah.
it. So I would probably venture in historical fiction. I've actually been reading some nonfiction too.
Oh,
About
nice.
the book I'm reading now is called Proof of Heaven, and it's this
Mhm.
neurosurgeon who has a near-death experience. And
Okay.
so that is something I would never have picked up before, but my friend recommended it. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, very cool.
So now I'm really dabbling in a lot of genres, which is
Oh,
really
that's great. Yeah, because you never know what you're gonna like if you're just kind of sticking with their one thing and not trying other stuff. And I
but
feel like
fantasy is
at least
good.
like historical fiction and fantasy like almost have the aspect in common where it is just such a different world. Even with historical fiction, it's our world, but you're still just in this totally different experience. I feel like it kind of has that in common with fantasy
For
in
sure.
that
I
sense.
never thought of it like that. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Dystopia in some ways.
Right.
Yeah, depending on the book, but
So do you have some fantasy favorites that you've read over the years?
I never dabbled into like the fairies and like different things like
Hmm.
that, more of just like realistic fiction. I would say there was one book called The Midnight Library. I don't know if you've ever heard
Oh
of
yeah. I
that.
haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. This woman gets to explore the different alternate versions of her life and through a magical library of like different
Hmm.
scenarios that would play out if she didn't choose the decisions that she made. So
Hmm.
that was really, really cool because it talks about like regret and getting second chances on things
Sure.
and, discovering yourself. And that was a really cool aspect. I never thought about life like that. I mean, you don't get that
Yeah.
opportunity, obviously, but
Yeah.
it raises a lot of questions about yourself. So that was a really cool fantasy that I read.
Yeah, and I know that author has some other books that he's written, Matt Haig.
Hmm.
Um, I think he came out with one pretty recently too. I don't know how similar it is in theme or topic, but that sounded like a cool one. Kind of
Yeah.
like that magical realism, I think they call
Hmm.
it, right?
Hmm.
Where it's like everything is normal except for like there's one element
Yes. Yes,
is different.
exactly. That's just one. I mean, I read a ton. I'm TikTok, I can say I don't love to spend too much time on it, but
Hmm.
I got all of most of my book recommendations from there. I feel like it created this whole like book talk sub community
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's really cool. I like it a lot.
Hmm.
I've gotten so many ideas from that and I think that's a good use of social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're going to get people reading. And I
Yes.
know that like book sales have spiked, especially of like past books that were like
Mhm.
not on the bestseller list anymore. And people once people started talking about it on there, it's gone crazy. It's done very cool things, I feel like, for the reader community.
Yeah, and for authors, I mean, that's awesome. A way to get your book. I know some people like
Totally.
my book's coming out, and then that video went viral, so then everyone got
Yep.
excited for their books. And I don't remember reading being this huge thing, but even
Hmm.
through COVID, I don't know if that's what, sparked people, but
Hmm.
even talking with friends and family, everyone's like, "Oh, over the past couple of years, I've really picked up reading and I've, blown up." So it's really cool. I love to see it. And then we get to trade
Yeah.
books. And I know my friends and I, we will say, "I'm going to go to Barnes and Noble. Do you have any of these books before I get it?" Because we'll
Oh,
just
that's a great idea.
swap books. It's really cool. I love that what it's done for
Wow.
like friendships and things of people I didn't know. I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know you enjoyed those things, but you tried the
Yes.
book. It's really cool."
And then you have like more to talk with them about and you
Yeah.
can geek out about it with them.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that book swap idea. I need
Yeah.
to Find a
Well, I
friend group
mean, they're
that
kind
way.
of they're expensive, honestly.
Right.
Books can be expensive, but it's still fun. I mean, like I'm not gonna buy the book to read it once.
Exactly. That's what I try to do. It's like I'll buy it if I know I'm going to reread it.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Oh, so this is actually a great segue from our fantasy talk. If you could live in a book world for 1 week, where would you go?
My first thought, Magic Treehouse. That was just
Ooh,
when that goes back to childhood again, but
yeah.
being able to have that spot, and I guess it's kind of ventures into life now, just having that spot where you can travel anywhere. And I guess that's what reading is for me now. So it's kind of fun to think about it that way. But I read every single Magic Treehouse book and reading all the different places that their books talked about. But now thinking about it in today, I would love to have a spot like that where it's perfect to sit and not think about the world that you're in now or the
Mm-hmm.
busyness and stress of life. But it was really cool to think about. And honestly, the Midnight Library, that would be so cool to do as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
that would be very cool. But any of the Roaring Twenties or things like that, that would be
Ooh.
so cool to go back
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So almost like having your own time machine.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's
It would be so
great.
cool.
That's another series I didn't read those ones. They were a little after my time and I feel like I could get into like reading them with my daughter.
Yes, they're so fun. And honestly, I remember, I think it was probably second or third grade that I started reading them. So it was just
Hmm.
really fun. And I looked forward to reading and it wasn't forced and it's not
Yes.
nursing textbooks. So
Yeah. Well, plus
it's,
like to introduce you to all of those time periods, I feel like is a whole secondary thing. You're getting that history education too through it, not just reading and stories, but also the different time periods. So,
yeah. Reading is just
um,
so fun. I mean, it brings people together and it's this whole other world where you can escape to. And honestly, I've even ventured into audiobooks recently and I think of them more as podcasts to me because I'll just
mhm.
put them on and listen in. But even doing that is just getting books in and more information and processing and it's
Yeah.
different.
Honestly, audiobooks were like my lifeline in college because you don't have the time to just like sit down and like, okay, I'm going to pick up this print book and like sit here and read it for hours. But if you can listen while you're doing something else, like while you're at the gym or
Mm-hmm.
driving or whatever, that's so great just to be able to fit it in.
It's funny. Everyone, I think about that because I will on the treadmill or at the gym or something, I'll put AirPods in
Hmm.
and I'll listen to the audiobook. And I'm like, people around me are probably listening to like heavy metal. And then there's me in this fantasy,
Right?
this fantasy little la la land of a book. And I think about that all the time. If someone took my AirPod and started listening, they'd probably like, what are you doing? It's
Although
funny.
it can be really motivating, like if there's a like fight scene and they're having like, a battle or something.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
part of this.
exactly. Yeah. It's so
That's
funny.
awesome.
I didn't
Oh,
even ask you, do you have a current read right now?
what am I reading? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm like halfway through a million books and I
I
keep like
know.
being
Me
super
too.
ADHD about it and like putting it down and picking up something else. So, um, I'm listening to The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. I had read it years ago and it was just like it's so dense and like just
Yeah.
different. So I'm trying to like get through that again. What else am I reading? I'm reading like a historical mystery too that I have as an ebook. I tend to do like usually I have a print book, an ebook, and an
Yes, me
audiobook.
too.
Right now I don't really have a print one going though. I have like a collection of short stories that I intended to just kind of like pick up from time to time, but I haven't been. So,
Yeah, yeah,
like I said, I don't know if I would quite call it a reading slump, but I'm kind of just like in between books right
yeah.
now.
And that's
Not,
okay, honestly. I mean,
yeah.
there's so many times where you're like, I just don't have the time. Or honestly, I don't even want to be reading right now. And
Or
I
like
think,
the attention span. Yeah.
yeah, I don't have, like, not in my time right now. I don't have the time for that. Or I don't want to. There's sometimes when
Mhm.
I'll feel guilty. I'm like, I see it on my bedside table. I know I should be reading it.
It's staring you down.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's honestly, I try to do like just 10 pages a day. I'll just tell myself
Yeah.
like 10
Well,
pages a day.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's like a couple of new releases that are coming out that I'm like looking forward to too. So I'm
Mm.
almost like, I feel like I'm trying to bide my time and be like, okay, I don't want to have anything on my plate when those come out so that I can just
Yeah.
like dig in. Well, that kind of goes into, again, the next question is, what's a reading goal that you have?
Honestly, I think the 10 pages a day, I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
really digestible, no matter what you're doing or what you have. Like, I have time for 10 pages. So that's just like a mini goal that I have per
Yep.
day. I like you have about 5 different books going right now in different media forms. So I would love to finish
Right.
those. But I think not having a pressure of myself, like before I'd be like, I want to do 20 books at this certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself being so overwhelmed that it ruined the experience. So at
Sure.
least just having, I know I have books if I ever need them, they're always there, but
Yep.
just doing one by one and whatever you get to is okay. And as long as I'm enjoying it.
That is such a good attitude. Otherwise, if you're pushing yourself to either like read too fast and not enjoy it and savor it, or like picking up things that you're not interested in, or like pushing yourself through it just to be
Right.
able to count it toward your goal, I could see that not being super beneficial.
It's okay. I mean, it is such a fun thing to do. And honestly, sometimes I do have to like just read it. And then when I'm reading, I'm like, oh, this feels so much better. Like, this is why I
Yeah,
read. So sometimes you do
good
have to push
reminder.
yourself a little bit to read.
Hmm.
But once you are, it's so fun.
And hopefully, as transition into the working world, you'll have more time, and during your off hours to read.
Exactly. That's what that's what I keep telling myself. Like you have the 3 days on, but the rest of the time you can
Yeah,
read and do what you want to do and it'll be
that'll
good.
be
But
great.
honestly, even in the quieter hours of the hospital, I see the nurses all with their Kindles and their
Oh,
readings.
that's awesome.
I can do that too.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many, through your local public library, you can like borrow all the ebooks and stuff, save some money. It's
Yeah.
really
It's funny though. I've
nice.
had my Kindle for 2 years and I have
Hmm.
never read a book on it. I love
My goodness.
physical books. I don't know, like I got it as a
Wow.
gift and I'm like, I just love the feeling of turning
Yeah.
pages, but I
Hmm.
don't want to be bringing the physical books into the hospital. So I know
Right.
I'm gonna get there eventually, but it's just so
Yep.
funny. I just love physical books. So,
That's awesome. Yeah,
but
they really are something special.
yeah, but I definitely think borrow it's a cheaper alternative, and so
Hmm.
we'll get there.
And
That's
to
a
be able
goal.
to do it like more subtly, like if patients
Yes.
are walking by, they're not like, oh, she's just reading.
Yes.
Like, well, that was all my questions. I don't know if anything
Okay.
popped up into your head or if you wanted to talk about anything else.
No, that was great. I think we touched a lot. That was great.
Good. Oh, it was
Yeah.
so great to hear from you. And I know you said you're not an avid reader, but oh, it sounds like you are and you enjoy it and you're hopefully going to have some more time for it and be able to read a lot more. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for
yeah.
having me. This was so fun. I can't wait to listen and keep listening. I follow the podcast on Spotify, so I'll definitely keep up with the episodes. It's
Oh,
so fun.
so great to hear. Yeah, yeah. And if you or anyone else listening ever has any recommendations for, other students that you think we should feature, or even staff or faculty here at Riv, or even alums, we would totally love to hear from them. Before we end the podcast, we'd just like to say congratulations to Sophia and all of our graduating students. We'd love to see you back in the library anytime as alums. As always, if you'd like to follow us on social media, we are at Regina Library on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also reach us through our website, riviere.edu/library. It's great having you here, and we'll see you again soon.